What if the most powerful music promotion campaign of 2026 cost absolutely nothing? No record label, no advertising budget, no industry connections, and was pulled off not by a seasoned marketing executive, but by a 20-year-old girl gliding across a sheet of ice in front of the entire planet. No sponsored placements, no label machinery grinding in the background, no carefully orchestrated rollout strategy dreamed up in a boardroom. Just one electrifying performance, one deliberately chosen song, and one collective moment where the entire internet simultaneously lost its composure. That is not a hypothetical scenario. That is the precise, documented reality of what unfolded when Alysa Liu stepped onto the Olympic ice at the Milan Cortina Winter Games, and in doing so, single-handedly launched a song from number 41 straight to the summit of the global Spotify chart in fewer than 7 days. To fully appreciate why this moment hit so differently from anything else that happened during those Winter Games, you have to rewind to February 19th, 2026, the evening of the women's singles figure skating final, where the global audience was locked in, and a 20-year-old from the Bay Area named Alysa Liu walked into that arena carrying the quiet, unshakable confidence of someone who had already survived the hardest parts of her journey. She was no stranger to the sport, and certainly no stranger to pressure. At just 13 years old, she had captured the U.S. championship title, becoming the youngest national champion in the entire recorded history of American figure skating, a distinction that immediately placed the weight of an entire nation's expectations squarely on her teenage shoulders. But following the 2022 Beijing Olympics, she did something that surprised everyone. She stepped away from competition entirely, walked away at barely 16 years old, not because the passion had evaporated, but because she simply needed the space to exist as a normal teenager, to breathe without the weight of Olympic ambition pressing down on every single moment of her day. Then she came back, hungrier, freer, entirely and unapologetically on her own terms. For her free skate at these Olympics, Alysa made a selection that raised eyebrows across the entire figure skating community. She chose Donna Summer's MacArthur Park, a bold, theatrical, dramatically over-the-top musical choice that the majority of competitive coaches would never dare to entertain for a program with this much riding on it. But Alysa is not the majority of skaters, and she proved it conclusively that evening by landing every jump with precision, commanding the arena with a presence that felt larger than the sport itself, and earning scores that delivered the result the entire arena had been collectively holding its breath for. Alysa Liu was the 2026 Olympic gold medalist, America's first women's singles figure skating champion in 24 long years. The stadium erupted, social media erupted, and Alysa Liu, with her iconic halo braid and that contagious, uninhibited smile that seemed physically incapable of being contained, became one of the most discussed and celebrated athletes of the entire Winter Games. But here is where the narrative takes its most extraordinary and unexpected turn, because 2 days after standing on that podium, Alysa returned to the ice for the exhibition gala, the Olympic equivalent of a closing night showcase, a no judges, no scorecards, pure expression celebration where athletes finally get to skate purely for the joy of it. And she arrived in a stunning, bedazzled dark blue gown with a matching choker, ready to deliver something that the internet was wholly, completely unprepared to witness. She skated out to Stateside, the collaborative track between Pink Pantheress and Zara Larsson, and what unfolded over the next several minutes was not a figure skating routine in any conventional sense of the phrase. It was a full-scale pop concert executed entirely on blades, a performance where she was flipping her hair, moving through the actual choreography of the song mid-stride, fully inhabiting the energy and personality of the track, with a level of commitment and authenticity that made the audience forget, at least momentarily, that they were watching someone perform on ice. The crowd was absolutely captivated, and the reaction in the arena was matched beat for beat by the explosion that detonated across every corner of social media the moment the footage began circulating. What elevated this beyond mere viral entertainment was the genuinely authentic foundation beneath every second of it, because this was not a track assigned to Alysa by a choreographer scrolling through trending playlists in search of something that would resonate with a digital audience. Pink Pantheress is one of Alyssa's actual, sincere, long-standing favorite artists. She had previously named the 2023 track Heaven Knows as her perfect 10 on Pitchfork, describing it as the music that gets her energized and mentally locked in before competition. This was a real fan moment, a genuine human being on the world's grandest platform paying authentic tribute to music that moves her on a personal level, and audiences everywhere, conditioned by years of manufactured moments, could feel the difference instantly. Now consider what that single performance did to Stateside's streaming numbers, because the data that emerged in the days following the gala is nothing short of staggering in the most literal sense of the word. On February 21st, the evening of the gala itself, Stateside pulled in approximately 1.1 million on-demand streams in the United States alone in a single day, which already sounds like a remarkable figure until you learned what happened next. By February 28th, just 1 week later, that daily number had surged to approximately 2.8 million on-demand streams in the United States alone, representing a 154% increase in daily streams within a single 7-day stretch, for a song that had already been available for months and was not riding any wave of debut excitement. On the Billboard Hot 100, Stateside vaulted from number 41 to number 13 in 1 week, the highest charting position the track had ever occupied in its entire existence. On Spotify, it climbed to the number 1 position on both the US and the global chart simultaneously, marking Zara Larsson's first ever number 1 on the Spotify US chart, one of the most fiercely competitive streaming markets anywhere on Earth. Since February 26th, the song has been generating more than 5 million streams per day globally on Spotify every single day without interruption. And critically, the momentum did not spike and collapse the way viral moments so frequently do. It compounded, it accelerated, it kept building on itself in a way that felt less like a flash of internet attention and more like a genuine cultural shift. On TikTok, in the 7 days following the performance, video views connected to the song surged by more than 50% compared to the prior week, with fans posting their own choreography interpretations, entire communities stumbling upon the track for the very first time, and the clip of Alysa skating to Stateside spreading far beyond sports communities into pop music circles, Gen Z content spaces, and general viral media pages across every major platform on the planet. Now consider the experience from Pink Pantheress's perspective. You are a British artist, you have released this collaboration with Zara Larsson, it is performing well, and then on an otherwise remarkable morning, you wake up to discover that your song was just performed live at the Winter Olympics in front of the entire world. And Pink Pantheress took to Instagram in visible, barely contained disbelief, expressing that she couldn't process what was happening, that Stateside reaching number 1 felt like something out of a dream, that she still couldn't believe the song had been performed at the Olympics, and that it felt like the universe had somehow delivered on a childhood wish, while shouting out Zara Larsson, her team, and Alysa Liu directly, and sending Alysa a personal message shared publicly by Raymond Braun, in which she expressed profound gratitude for the support and revealed that she had been completely obsessed with figure skating as a child, meaning Alysa was quite literally living a dream that Pink Pantheress herself had once held. While Alysa responded by calling Pink Pantheress a boss, and Zara Larsson posted a celebratory photo declaring that her followers were currently listening to the number 1 song in the entire world, and thanking Pink Pantheress for allowing her onto a track that was already extraordinary before her involvement. But the dimension of this story that deserves the most attention, the part that tends to get buried beneath the streaming statistics and the chart positions and the celebrity reactions, is the simple truth that none of this was accidental. Alysa Liu deliberately, consciously chose this song because she genuinely loves this music, and what this moment demonstrates with undeniable clarity is that authentic, real, unmanufactured fan energy remains the single most potent force in modern music promotion, more effective than any algorithm, more impactful than any advertising campaign, more powerful than any radio push or curated playlist placement that money can secure. Because Alyssa had no obligation to perform stateside at the Olympic Gala, she could have selected something universally safe and crowd-pleasing and strategically neutral, but instead she chose the song she actually loves. She chose to have genuine fun. She chose to be fully and unapologetically herself on the biggest stage her sport has to offer. And that single decision generated more cultural impact than most major label campaigns will spend millions of dollars attempting to fail to replicate. Which is also not an isolated occurrence, given that when she won gold and skated her free program to MacArthur Park, that 1978 Donna Summer track saw its Spotify streams increase by 1,292% within 48 hours, meaning Alyssa introduced a nearly 50-year-old song to millions of younger listeners who had never once encountered it. And now she's done the same for a brand new release, proving that the Alysa Liu effect, the phenomenon of a genuine fan receiving the world's largest platform and simply joyfully choosing to share the music she loves, is more powerful than anything the music industry has engineered